Hello there, seekers of wisdom and calm minds. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an odd chill in the air? Perhaps someone's tone is a little too sharp, their compliments too backhanded, or their glance simply skips over you as if you're invisible. It's unsettling, isn't it? But here's the catch. Hostility often hides behind subtle masks, and if you're not careful, it can creep into your life unnoticed, leaving you questioning your own worth or motives. But don't worry, today, we're diving into something that's not just practical, but deeply empowering. The 7 signs of animosity and how to tackle them with the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Because if there's one thing the Stoics knew better than most, it's how to navigate life's challenges with grace and clarity, even when people or circumstances seem set against you. Here's a truth bomb for you. We can't control how others feel about us. Not everyone will appreciate your efforts, your ideas, or even your presence. And that's okay. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king himself, reminds us you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That's the Stoic way, focusing on what's within your control and letting go of the rest. So, grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's uncover the subtle signs that someone harbors animosity toward you. But this isn't just about spotting negativity. It's about flipping the script, transforming these challenges into opportunities for growth and self-mastery. By the end, you'll not only recognize these hidden cues, but also learn how to respond like a true Stoic, with calm, composure, and a steady eye on what truly matters. And hey, if this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Because together, we're building a community of unshakable resilience. Let's begin. After all, what stands in the way becomes the way, doesn't it? 1. Passive-aggressive behavior, the first sign of animosity. Let's start with a familiar but often slippery sign of animosity, passive-aggressive behavior. We've all experienced it at some point, haven't we? Someone makes a joke that cuts a little too deep or offers a compliment that feels more like an insult. Maybe they roll their eyes at your ideas or imitate you in ways that aren't exactly flattering. It's subtle, yes, but it sticks. And if we're not mindful, these behaviors can eat away at our peace of mind. In Stoic philosophy, we're taught to focus on what is within our control. And here's the key. Their behavior isn't in your control, but your reaction is. Think about that for a moment. Passive-aggressive actions are often a reflection of the other person's insecurities, frustrations, or even their envy. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless wisdom, advises us, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, people will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good, and I can choose to not be hurt by these things. What's most dangerous about passive-aggressive behavior isn't just the behavior itself. It's the doubt it can plant in your own mind. Have you ever caught yourself overthinking a sarcastic remark, wondering if it was about you or something you did? That doubt can spiral, robbing you of energy better spent elsewhere. But here's where the Stoic philosophy saves us. We don't have to engage with it. Imagine this. Instead of reacting to a sarcastic comment with defensiveness or self-doubt, you pause. You take a deep breath and recognize that the remark has no real power over you. You remind yourself of what Epictetus teaches. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is your superpower, the ability to choose how much space someone else's behavior takes up in your life. So, the next time someone's sarcasm stings or their backhanded compliment leaves you second-guessing yourself, remember this. Passive-aggressive behavior is their storm, not yours. Your job as a Stoic is to remain the calm center amidst their turbulence. Let their subtle jabs fall flat against the shield of your self-assurance. Because when you refuse to react, you're not just ignoring hostility, you're rising above it. Does this resonate with you? Have you faced moments like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's explore how we can embody this philosophy together. After all, recognizing signs of animosity isn't just about avoiding negativity, it's about mastering yourself. But 2, dismissive attitude, a telling sign of animosity. Let's move to another unmistakable sign of animosity, a dismissive attitude. Have you ever tried to strike up a conversation with someone, only to be met with a one-word reply, a shrug, or worse, complete silence? It's like talking to a wall, and no matter how hard you try to connect, it feels like they've already decided you're not worth their time. It stings, doesn't it? But it also leaves you wondering, what did I do to deserve this? Here's the truth. A dismissive attitude says more about them than it does about you. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Their indifference, their lack of engagement, it's their choice, not your fault. You can't control how open or receptive someone chooses to be, but you can control how much their dismissal affects you. Now, let's be honest. Dismissive behavior feels personal. It can make you question your worth, your voice, or even your place in the room. But Stoicism teaches us to see it differently. Imagine yourself standing in a storm. The rain, the wind, they're external forces beyond your control. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose whether to let it soak you to the bone or stand firm under shelter. A dismissive attitude is like that storm. It's noisy, unpleasant, and cold, but it's ultimately external. The next time someone ignores your input in a meeting, overlooks your presence in a group, or treats you like an afterthought, pause. Take a step back and remind yourself of what Epictetus teaches. If you are ever tempted to look for outside approval, realize that you have compromised your integrity. Be satisfied being the person you are. When you ground yourself in your own worth, the dismissiveness of others becomes insignificant noise in the background. What's powerful about this approach is how freeing it feels. Once you stop seeking validation from someone who chooses to be dismissive, you reclaim your energy. You stop pouring yourself into a bottomless pit of effort and instead channel that energy toward things and people that genuinely matter. Does this sound familiar to you? Have you faced moments where someone's dismissive attitude made you question yourself? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Remember, recognizing signs of animosity like this isn't just about identifying negativity. It's about learning to rise above it with clarity and composure. That's what Stoicism is all about, isn't it? 3. Exclusion and isolation. A subtle yet painful sign of animosity. Let's talk about something a bit more personal. Exclusion and isolation. Have you ever been in a room full of people, yet felt completely invisible? Maybe it's a group conversation where your words seem to fall on deaf ears, or a social gathering where everyone gets invited to the next big outing, except you. That sting of being left out, intentionally or not, cuts deep, doesn't it? It's not just rejection, it's a silent message that says, you don't belong. Here's the thing. Recognizing exclusion and isolation as a sign of animosity is important, but equally crucial is how you respond to it. The Stoics would remind us that being excluded by others doesn't diminish our intrinsic worth. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, their actions, whether they choose to leave you out or overlook your presence, don't define you. Your sense of self-worth must come from within. I've been there too. Sitting in meetings where my contributions seemed to vanish into thin air, or noticing how conversations conveniently carried on without me. It's tempting to let these moments spiral into self-doubt. Thoughts like, am I not interesting enough? Did I do something wrong? Creep in. But here's what I've learned from Stoicism. What feels like rejection is often a reflection of others, not you. Sometimes people exclude others out of jealousy, insecurity, or simply their own thoughtlessness. Instead of letting isolation bring you down, turn it into an opportunity. Use the quiet moments to reflect and reconnect with your own values. Epictetus teaches us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If a group doesn't see your value, remind yourself of what you stand for and redirect your energy to where it's truly appreciated. You don't need to belong everywhere, just in the spaces where your presence aligns with your principles. So, what do you do when exclusion hurts? You take a step back. You ground yourself in the idea that your worth isn't dictated by whether or not you're included. Instead of chasing after validation, invest that energy into becoming someone so confident and self-assured that exclusion no longer feels like rejection. It feels like redirection. Have you ever felt this kind of isolation before? How did you handle it? Let's share and connect in the comments. Remember, recognizing signs of animosity like exclusion isn't just about noticing who leaves you out. It's about choosing how you rise above it. That's the Stoic way. Calm, composed, and always in control of what truly matters. 4. Constant criticism, the unrelenting sign of animosity. Let's address a sign of animosity that can leave even the strongest of us second-guessing ourselves. Constant criticism. Have you ever had someone in your life who always seems to find fault with everything you do? Whether it's your work, your choices, or even the way you carry yourself. Their words feel like a relentless tide of judgment, wearing away at your confidence. It's exhausting, isn't it? Here's what makes constant criticism particularly damaging. It often disguises itself as helpful advice or constructive feedback, but deep down, you know it's not. When someone's criticism consistently tears down rather than builds up, it's not about improvement, it's about control, resentment, or sometimes even jealousy. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." I remember a time when I worked closely with someone who had a knack for pointing out every tiny mistake I made. No matter how hard I tried to improve, it always felt like it wasn't enough. I'd replay their words over and over in my head, wondering if they were right, wondering if I wasn't good enough. But Stoicism gave me a way out of that mental spiral. Epictetus teaches us, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. That was the key. I didn't have to let their words dictate my worth. Instead of internalizing constant criticism, the Stoics encourage us to see it for what it is, a test of our resilience. Criticism, especially when it's harsh or repetitive, can either break us or shape us. The choice is ours. When someone critiques you unfairly, pause. Ask yourself, is there any truth to their words? If there is, use it as an opportunity to grow. If there isn't, let it go like water off a duck's back. Either way, you remain in control. What makes this approach powerful is that it shifts the focus from their words to your response. Constant criticism loses its sting when you stop giving it the power to define you. You can choose to rise above it, to focus on your values and actions, rather than their endless judgments. Have you experienced someone like this in your life? How did you handle it? Share your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've dealt with constant criticism. Because recognizing the sign of animosity isn't just about surviving negativity, it's about thriving in the face of it, stronger and wiser than before. That's the Stoic way. 5. Negative body language, a nonverbal sign of animosity. Let's talk about something that speaks louder than words. Negative body language. Have you ever walked into a room, started speaking, and noticed someone roll their eyes or cross their arms as if shutting you out entirely? Maybe they turn away when you approach or give you that subtle, dismissive look that makes you feel small. It's subtle, yet unmistakable, and it's one of the clearest signs of animosity because our bodies often reveal what our words try to hide. I'll be honest, encountering negative body language stings. It's hard not to take it personally when someone's actions seem to scream, "I don't want you here." In those moments, you can feel your self-doubt creeping in, whispering questions like, "What's wrong with me? Did I say something wrong?" But Stoic philosophy reminds us to step back from that emotional response. Marcus Aurelius puts it plainly, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Their actions, their glares, their closed-off posture, they're outside events. Your response? That's your domain. I remember a meeting where I felt the weight of negative body language. Every idea I shared was met with sighs, crossed arms, and even a slight smirk. At first, I wanted to retreat, to stop speaking altogether. But then I paused. I reminded myself that their posture didn't invalidate my thoughts or worth. It simply revealed their inner struggles. As Epictetus wisely says, "What concerns me is not the way things are, but the way I think about them." When you notice negative body language, try this. Instead of reacting, observe. Observe without judgment, without taking it personally. Ask yourself, is this truly about me or is it about them? Often, people's body language reflects their own insecurities, frustrations, or biases. It's rarely a mirror of your value. And here's the shift. When you stop letting their nonverbal cues dictate your mood or confidence, you take back your power. You stay grounded in your values, your intentions, and your sense of self. You become the calm presence in a room of folded arms and furrowed brows. Have you ever felt the sting of negative body language? How did you handle it? Let's discuss in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences and how you rose above this nonverbal sign of animosity. Because recognizing these signals isn't just about seeing negativity, it's about staying steady, confident, and true to yourself in the face of it. That's what Stoicism teaches us, that the storm around us can't shake the calm within. Number 6. Unnecessary competition, a telltale sign of animosity. Let's dive into one of the more exhausting signs of animosity: unnecessary competition. Have you ever shared something you were excited about, a personal success, a new project, or even a simple joy, only for someone to respond with a smug, "Oh, that's nice, but let me tell you what I've done"? It's as if they can't let you have your moment. Instead, they turn every conversation into a one-upmanship contest, leaving you feeling overshadowed and drained. Unnecessary competition isn't always overt, but it's unmistakable. It shows up in subtle ways. They constantly try to outshine you in group settings, diminish your achievements, or make your efforts feel small compared to theirs. Marcus Aurelius, in his timeless wisdom, reminds us, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This perspective helps us see through the pettiness of constant comparisons. Your life, your achievements, your joys, they're yours to treasure, not theirs to diminish. I've had my fair share of experiences with unnecessary competition. Once, I told a colleague about a creative idea I was proud of. Instead of acknowledging it, they launched into a lengthy monologue about how their idea was even more innovative. At first, it frustrated me. I felt dismissed, even belittled. But then I remembered a core Stoic principle. You can't control others, only yourself. Their need to compete didn't reflect on my worth. It reflected on their insecurities. When faced with unnecessary competition, the Stoic approach is clear. Focus on your own path. Epictetus teaches us, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same goes for recognition or validation. True confidence comes from within, not from comparing ourselves to others or seeking their approval. Here's the beauty of this mindset. When you stop engaging in their competitive game, you win. You free yourself from the exhausting cycle of comparisons and refocus on your values and goals. Let them chase after accolades or one-upmanship. You're too busy building a life rooted in purpose and self-respect. Have you encountered someone who always tries to outdo you? How did it make you feel? And how did you respond? Let's share in the comments, because recognizing signs of animosity, like unnecessary competition, isn't about feeding into the negativity. It's about rising above it with clarity and grace. That's what Stoicism teaches us, that our worth isn't up for debate, no matter who's trying to outshine us. And there we have it, the 6 subtle yet impactful signs of animosity. Passive-aggressive behavior, dismissive attitudes, exclusion and isolation, constant criticism, negative body language, and unnecessary competition. Each one, in its own way, has the potential to shake our confidence and cloud our sense of self. But as we've explored, these moments don't have to define us. The Stoics remind us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we are always in control of our reactions. Marcus Aurelius's timeless advice urges us to focus on what truly matters. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Let your principles guide you. Recognizing signs of animosity isn't about playing the blame game. It's about reclaiming your power. When you face these behaviors, pause, step back. Remember that others' hostility often speaks more about them than it does about you. Choose to act, not react. Build your inner strength. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to practice patience, resilience, and self-mastery, the very virtues Stoicism holds dear. So, what's next for you? Take these lessons and apply them to your daily life. Whether it's a dismissive colleague, a passive-aggressive remark, or the sting of exclusion, you now have the tools to navigate these moments with clarity and calm. Let their animosity be the backdrop, not the center stage of your life. If this journey through the signs of animosity resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What challenges have you faced, and how have you risen above them? Share in the comments, and let's continue to grow together. After all, the Stoic way isn't just about enduring life's trials, It's about transforming them into stepping stones toward our highest selves.